we use week 1 of this past season all the time as the example because we went up to the game. We were all there. You know, it's Browns-Bengals season opener at home. I mean, the Bengals are coming in. Everybody's got them hyped up like AFC, you know, contenders and all this stuff. And we whooped them 24-3 in a game that it rained the entire game. And afterward, you know, looking back now, people will say, you know, the defense played great. The offense sucked. Deshaun Watson wasn't very good. And if you go back and think about that game, it's like it rained the whole time. And he had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like that's in the rain. That's pretty good, especially when you're up that big and you don't need to throw. You know, we're running the ball a lot.
Yeah, and came out with a win.
Exactly. Yes. That's the biggest stat. Yep.
Yeah. That was another thing that the consistent thing that I saw between teams in the NFL is that winning in the National Football League is very, very hard, especially on a game-to-game basis because the talent is I mean, it's the pinnacle of our sport.
Yep.
You're talking about, you know, these 5-star recruits from high school making it and then them not even making the Division I team. And, you know, and so I think when you get to the National Football League, winning games is very difficult. And that's the one thing that I saw across teams is that who cares what the stats were? Who cares about all those things? The fans can be critical of that. I totally get it. But the coaches are like, at the end of the day, a win's a win.
Yep.
You know, and however we need to do that to make it possible, that's what we're going to do. So,
which
kind of a different aspect.
I would say just you saying that, though, makes me even appreciate this past season even more because we had all the injuries. We had 5 different starting quarterbacks through the season. We had every excuse to not win games, and yet we still won 11, probably could have won 12 if we'd have played starters at the end of the season and made the playoffs, which it still is like, it blows my mind.
And I'm happy to hear you kind of give some insight in terms of like what the coaches are saying about stats and how players feel about it. Because when we first started this podcast, there was no doubt I was the fanatic that was like, we didn't win the right way. We should have won by 30 and we only won by 29. We suck, you know? And then the more I do the podcast, the more like we've met a couple players, meeting guys like you who kind of give us insights into what it's actually like to be a professional athlete. The more you realize like, it's hard. Just being consistent is hard because the other guys are professionals too. So it's not about window dressing and looking good it's just about getting the win and surviving to the next week and staying healthy and doing all those things. So I think a lot of guys who were like me 4 years ago, it's hard to wrap their mind around the fact like this is hard and just getting wins is tough. I think that's good advice, and that's good for the fans to hear, to the people who listen to the show who can be up in our comment section just go losing their mind because we didn't win by 2 scores against a team that had a worse record. And it's like, guys, we won a National Football League game. So I think that's awesome to hear from you. I love getting insight. Getting a chance to talk to players is so cool to kind of just see what it's like inside the locker room and that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate that.